So this is part 2 of the BRZ rebuild for the K24 swap, T56 swap. I did a pretty bad job of recording things when I was doing everything, so I did take pictures, and it's kind of what I'm going to show here. So the next step after kind of assessing what all I needed to order was to drop the motor. And so this is the picture of just dropping the whole subframe, and then I put the subframe back in and got it over to the frame machine. So this is with the motor out. As you can see, the frame rail was bent on that left side, as well as it is bent on that right side as well. Just a picture of the motor, and then this is just kind of assessment of the damage. So this is that passenger frame rail. There's a pretty gnarly bend right there. This lower radiator support, super bent and messed up. Yeah. And then just another picture of, basically I had drilled out all those spot welds to get the radiator support off. It's just all, you can see all the drill holes to get this piece off. Just another picture of that. And so basically the correct way to repair this is to section in new frame rails. So what I had to do was buy whole frame rail horns from Subaru and the whole front radiator support assembly and crash bar, and then basically cut the frame rails at a specific point on both sides, and then cut it at the same point of the new frame rails, and then section them in with plates, and then welding it, and then grinding it, and then painting it. So that's basically what we did here. And so the next step was to get it onto the frame machine, which this is our blackjack frame machine. Shout out to Adam. He's the owner of this company, and he really set us up with this frame machine, and it's been working absolutely great. So so got it up on the frame rail. The next part was to just basically cut off the frame rail ends, like so. So after you cut off the frame rail ends, which was very intimidating considering I've never done this before, so that was fun. Cut them off both sides, and then basically I measured at the specific points that Subaru does have recommendations as to where to section them in their actual collision repair manual. Unfortunately, right where that suggestion was right where mine were bent, so I had to go back a little bit further, but it all worked out. Everything is still structurally sound. So. And then this leads me to basically the step that I actually have video on of welding the plates in to actually have the extra support and to weld to for the new frame rails, as well as to mock up it slides over and sits itself. So current update on the K24 development car. This is a BRZ TS that I bought wrecked and currently fixing the frame. This is number 17 of 500. And what we have currently is cut frame rails and plated frame rails. So essentially we had cut both ends of these off. We ordered whole new frame rails and a whole new front radiator support. So essentially after we cut it, we measured everything, and then we plated it like this, and then slotted it for the brake line hold threads for that bolt that holds that up. But essentially both of them are plated now, and then we have the brought whole new frame rails from Subaru, and they were cut and slotted at the same position. And we have our crash bar holding it together, and our whole front radiator support that fits up great. So currently just taking final measurements to essentially section the whole front end back to it. All the side things are back to where they need to be, there and there. So essentially now we're going to put the whole front end onto here, get everything measured up, and then weld and section it on, and then grind it down and paint it. So other things is that the big dent in the roof in the rear quarter panel has been fixed. The seat belts have been fixed. Airbag controller has been replaced. The seat is currently getting fixed because the seat belt holder button was broken, so it's at a Alcantara shop a suede shop getting fixed. And then have the airbag on order. Need to order a new clock spring, and that's pretty much it for the interior, I think. So I can show you above here, the dent up here is gone, super sick. And then the dent in the quarter panel is gone here. So it's coming along. So just gonna section this in, get it all welded up, And then from there, start throwing all of the new bumper, fenders, headlights, all that on, get it painted, and then throw the stock motor back in. But before I throw the stock motor back in, it's gonna get all 3D scanned. And that way I can start developing stuff in CAD and then also drive it with the stock motor. So, yep. So this is how we're sitting right now. We have the whole front core support together. Nothing's welded yet, but essentially I got everything exactly where I want it. So that way I have a pretty good gap. It's completely level. Measurements, I'm gonna double check with our tram gauge, but should be good. The whole front core support is on. That'll all get welded up after the frame rails are welded. Just held on with those right now. Gap's pretty good on both sides. I'm gonna throw the little side pieces on that go right here to here, just to make sure everything is square. Kind of did a shitty job cutting this one right here. So this is exactly where it needs to be. Like I said, I'm gonna double check with our tram gauge, but essentially the core support is completely level, and then this is also completely level in reference to the top of the trans tunnel. So it should all be good in terms of the level of it, as well as all the measurements. From Subaru, they have their own collision, and you can have all of your engine bay and your heights, and then all of the guides in order to change it. But essentially, going off of this, and then the undercarriage one, I don't know where it's at right now, but it shows you the undercarriage dimensions, and right now they're all squared up. So I'm just gonna double check all of them and then weld them all up, and then go from there. So current update, we got everything welded together. So we have the frame rails all welded, MIG welded. So essentially now going to grind it down and then paint the whole engine bay. Got the whole front support welded on, spot welded on behind here. Same with like all these, they're all spot welded on. It's all gonna get grinded down and painted. But essentially got all the measurements 100% accurate. Got the suspension back on, got it all welded. These welds are minimal, but they're gonna get grinded down and covered with fender liners. So they're super strong. Penetration was great. So just an update. Got these on, looking good, and it's looking like a car again. So super happy with how it came out. Same on this side. It's all welded, sectioned in. So next step is get it off the jaws, get it back on its wheels, and then bring it to the paint booth and get this grinded down, sanded down, and painted black. And then we'll throw the motor back in and then do development. So